Hey everyone, thanks for watching the Franchise Growth Show. I'm Joe Carter, founder of the Twin Flame Group and partner with the franchise consulting company. I don't want to pull you away from today's episode for too long, but before we get started, I wanted to share one quick idea that every founder and franchise operator should understand. Revenue is a byproduct. Value is the objective. At the Twin Flame Group, everything that we do is focused on building scalable, sellable businesses. Now let's get into today's episode.
I love that. There's a circle of influence that's occurring there. Every capital that you're raising kind of has really two pitches: the math, but then the execution and the mission. I love that. You've turned basically student run into value add, in my opinion. That's how I would phrase it. Maybe I'm off slightly. Correct me if I'm wrong there. But could you give us a win where students made a real impact on a portfolio company?
Yeah. So we have a company right now in our portfolio, and part of their strategy is to roll up other businesses. They think and we agree, that there's an interesting opportunity to buy businesses that raised a lot of money during 2021 at very high valuations. We're unfortunately not able to grow into those valuations, but we're able to build like interesting product. And so what this company does is within its area, it goes and identifies these companies, acquires them, and gives kind of the teams at those companies a second shot at building something big, and then rolling all of those businesses together. And so one of the things that we've done is for that company is we spend a bunch of time helping them identify different targets that they could go out and acquire, and pulling due diligence and other materials together for them as they're evaluating those types of investment opportunities. Because we can throw, 5 to 10 to 20 students, all of which are really bright, hardworking, and motivated, we can crank through very large projects like that very quickly for them. We've done a bunch of other things, in the past. We had one company that their CFO left in the middle of a fundraise, and we rebuilt their entire financial model and helped them end up closing $15 million in additional funding. We've reached out to hundreds of influencers for some of our consumer products companies to help them. We've done, projects where companies have brought us like big data sets and just said, hey, this is all of our customer data. Can you help us analyze this and identify ways to better find and serve our customers? And so we've done those types of projects. So it's a really broad range of different things.
That's what scalable talent looks like right there. Early stage teams more often than not are undersourced, and you provide the ability to give them the resources necessary to do all that stuff, potentially at a faster rate than they could do on their own, because you can throw so many high caliber students at the project. So that's fantastic. You, in my opinion, have passed impact only investing like a long time ago and doubled down on tech. So why did that clarity matter?
Yeah, so I don't know. I've spent a lot of time in working as an international consultant in Africa, South America, and the Caribbean, designing and launching businesses in those markets. And one of the things that really stood out to me doing a lot of that work was that the businesses that had the most impact were not the ones that everybody called impact investments. For the most part, the companies that have the most impact on the lives and well-being of the people in those markets tend to be businesses you don't think of necessarily as impact businesses. It's like a transportation business, a company that's made up of a bunch of trucks and they move goods from point A to point B. And that's important because it increases trade and, so on and so forth. And so, when we're looking at our investments, I don't necessarily say that they're non-impact. I think they have tremendous amount of impact, and arguably more impact than a traditional, impact investment, quote unquote. And then, we tend to be very picky too. So in terms of, businesses, we have passed on incredible businesses that, they fall into areas and categories that we just don't feel morally comfortable with, whether it's gambling or any sort of adult entertainment or, drugs or alcohol, things like that. And so, yeah, even though we're not necessarily saying we want to invest in clean water in Africa businesses, I look at some of our companies that have done incredible things for their communities, and the number of jobs they've created and so on and so forth, and feel very proud about the impact that those companies are having.
Thanks again for watching this episode of the Franchise Growth Show. If you're a founder or a franchise operator who wants to build a scalable, sellable business, that is exactly what we do at the Twin Flame Group. Our focus is simple: build systems, increase EBITDA, and increase enterprise value. If you want to learn more, visit twinflametx.com or DM us on any of our social platforms, and we will see you at the next episode.